When I was a little girl, um, my parents, when I was about 4 or 5, I moved out west to the Dallas Fort Worth area. My dad worked for Department of Defense, and um, he was like a contractor. He was a civil engineer for Department of Defense, and we got moved over there. And it was very weird being the Puerto Rican kid from New York in Dallas Fort Worth in 1975. 1976. It was weird. It was hard. Um, and my best friend was a little girl named Brandy, and she had shocking red hair and freckles. She looked like a pixie. In fact, she had a pixie cut back in the 70s, that pixie cut on their kids. And when we moved back to New York, it was a very traumatic childhood. I had a rough time. Like, my family was really good at covering that up and keeping up masks and keeping up appearances and pretending to people that we were this wonderful family. It was terrible. It was really, oh, I'm hurting just remembering it. It was hurtful. Um, I'm glad that it's still hurtful, some of the things I remember. But she was really tight with me. And when we moved to New York and the hurtful stuff got even worse, and I was being bullied in school for my accent, my Texas accent, and for being different and for being smart. I was really smart. I was 2 or 3 grades ahead of everybody, and they didn't have gifted programs. They put me with the older kids. My own family was really jealous of me and very mean. It was terrible. There were other things that were really good, and I like to talk about the good things and the love that I've had growing up, but there were things that were really, really bad that I wouldn't wish on anybody. And one of the things that I like to do was I love the rain. I always did, and I used to go wander off a lot. It was a different time. Like in the 80s, you went out, you played, you came back when the street lights came on. When the parents were around, they kind of watched you like a hawk, but when they were busy working, it was like you were latchkey and you had this whole other life with your peers that they weren't really part of or didn't know about. And then you had this whole strict whatever thing going on when they were around and they were watching, you know. It was like weird. But I used to go what I call walkabout. It's how I discovered the Lower East Side and CBGBs. I was on walkabout. And I used to love and I still love the rain. And I used to go down to Fulton Ferry Landing. Now Fulton Ferry Landing looks very nice. They have condos, they have a Brooklyn Bridge Park. They didn't have all of that then. Then it was a very scary place. The streets were still cobblestone. You could see uh the tracks from the old trolleys. There were a lot of abandoned um, warehouses that people would squat in or whatever, and street lights didn't always work. So, but I used to go. I remember too in Brooklyn Bridge Park that bridge thing. It was really shaky, and you had to walk down it. I don't know how we didn't get hurt. But anyway, I used to go down there to the landing right there, and I used to watch the storm over the East River. I used to watch the lightning, I used to watch the thunder, the wind, the waves. Probably wasn't very safe. I mean, I was this little, it's not even 80 pounds soaking wet, skinny, skinny kid. I became very, very skinny. And people would tease me about that, but they never asked questions about whether I was eating. They never asked that. And if I wasn't, why? The social workers did, but I didn't really cooperate with them. So And back then it was called BCW. They call it ACS now. They weren't effective. They weren't effective at all. There were no, I don't know. We've gotten out of hand with the mandated reporting, but back then they didn't care. People didn't really care. It took the death of Lisa Steinberg much later when I was a teenager, an older teenager at that, for people to really give a crap about kids, to truly give a crap. Um, and I want to thank people from the Lower East Side and the squatters and stuff, many of whom were runaways or throwaways, um, for the activist work that they did, along with different other groups, to cause people to start caring about youth because we didn't have that before them. That's another thing we can thank some of the punks for. Um, but in any case, um, I remember going down to Fulton Ferry Landing and getting soaked and loving it, letting the smell of the water, the seawater, and the smell of the lightning, the electricity of lightning. It burns the sky, and you can smell the electric when it hits, and it was so cleansing and so freeing, the energy of it. And at first, I would take my shoes off and I would stand there barefoot and I would just let the storm just pour over me. And I would get soaked all the way through my jeans, all the way through. My underwear was soaked, like squish back. I would squish back home to my family. And at first, I would get kind of scolded. Um, but, I'm of Afro Puerto Rican descent. And so people believed that that was me being called to honor Shango and Yemaya and Oya. And so they backed up a little bit. But I remember that I was drawn to go and watch the storm and just let it wash over me. And I still am. Um, so this song is about a different situation, but I used to look over the water and think of the one friend that I had who was really far away and how alone I felt. And I wonder how she was doing. And I used to write letters. Sometimes, I mean, I was a child. I would write letters about some of the crap that was going on. They would tell my dad, because my dad at the time my parents were separated. My dad was still out in Texas. Um, I would tell her to pray for me. And she did. And I believe that I got through it. I believe the divine heard me. Because look where I am now. First of all, I'm alive when I shouldn't be. And I'm not homeless anymore, getting beat up anymore and stuff. Just, um, it's been a long, hard trip in 53 years. Some will say that's a short time to evolve and ascend in the scheme of things. Um, but yeah, I used to look across the water and I used to think about my redheaded friend and wish that she could come over and talk with me. The kids would bully me. It was rough. They still do. We're grown and they still bully me because it's like they know that you're different. Your light shines differently. Your brain is mapped differently. People misunderstand or don't care to understand, or they think that someone like you should succeed at stuff or be able to do certain stuff or know certain stuff. And then when it comes out that not only do you know your shit, but you're good at it, they think it's a reflection on them when you're just being you. Your light shines And sometimes it shines a light on things that people don't want to see and aren't ready to deal with. And so they come out at you because it's easier to come out at you than to look within. And that's just part of how it is. I was one of those people in my trauma. So that's what happens, right? But someone reminded me of this song, and it really resonates because I remember that. I know that the author of the song, or whatever, the person who did the song, Amy Winehouse, was a tortured soul. And she's at rest now. She was a beautiful person, and she blessed us for a short time. Um, and is sorely missed. There's not going to be another voice like that, another person like that. She's irreplaceable. But the song reminds me too. So even though she's talking about a different situation, it resonates because I think of myself looking across the water, wondering which direction I should face, you know, and thinking about my friend. Um, we were very close. We were very close. Very, very, very close. To the point where people, said things that weren't true about the connection. It might have been true in the case of Amy, but for us it wasn't. I'm strictly hetero. I'm demi, but I'm hetero. So anyway, here it is. If you didn't guess the song, you should know it now. And it brings me joy today because I got through all of that. And I got through it by remembering people I loved. And I still do. People that I loved who are here, close to me, people that are far away from me. I have a lot of friends who are musicians or not musicians, just good people from all over the world on my page who give me all kinds of encouraging word and advice and support from far away, from all the ends. I have friends all over. It's not true that online friends can't impact you. I've had people that I've only been in contact online. We've shared the deepest things. And I'm talking about the ones who are genuine, not the ones who are lying or catfishing. Like amazing people I'm very grateful for. And other people like, close to me who I've known since childhood, you know, I'm fortunate to have that. Some people have absolutely nobody. I struggle alone. They can't always be here to help me with my struggles. And maybe that's a good thing because I've learned how to get by and not have to people please to get by. But you know, it brings me joy now to think of myself as that child, that young person on Fulton Ferry Landing, watching the water and the waves and appreciating the way God manifests in nature, the power of it, and knowing that I was protected by it, surrounded by it, being cleansed by it, that it was stronger than any circumstance, and that I was going to be okay, and thinking about my friend and just wishing that I could be physically near her. Even if we didn't say anything, we're just standing there in awe at the lightning. So, here it is. Ready? Someone asked me to sing it for them um, at a show, and I'm very flattered by that. And this is such a song that means so much to me. It's also a song my daughter sang. She was lovely when she sang it. Mhm. So, well, sometimes I go out for myself and I look across the water. And I think of all the things, what you're doing, and in my head I paint a picture Well, since I've come on home, my body's been a mess, and I miss your ginger hair and the way you like to dress. Won't you come on over? Stop making a fool out of me. Why don't you come on over, Valerie? Valerie, Valerie, Valerie. Did you have to go to jail? Put your house up for sale. Did you get a good lawyer? Did you catch yourself a tan? Did you find the right man to fix it for you? And are you shopping everywhere? Change the color of your hair. Are you busy? And did you have to pay that fine that you've been dodging all the time? Are you still dizzy? Since I've come on home, well, my body's been a mess, and I miss your ginger hair and the way you like to dress. Won't you come on over? Stop making a fool out of me. Oh, why don't you come on over, Valerie? Valerie, Valerie. Valerie, since I've come on home, well, my body's been a mess, and I've missed your ginger hair and the way you like to dress. Won't you come on over? Stop making a fool out of me. Oh, why don't you come on over, baby? Valerie, oh, Valerie, 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 ooh, Valerie. Now I'm remembering my friend's name. I'm remembering my friend's name. The sailors say, Brandy, you're a fine girl. What a good wife you would be. But my life, my love, and my lady is the sea. Brandy. Her name is Brandy. And when I had some troubles and I needed to go no contact with my primary abuser, she got on a plane and she came out with a little shoebox about this big. It was a Hello Kitty. I'll never forget it. We were into Hello Kitty. It was a Hello Kitty pink shoebox with Hello Kitty stickers all over it. And I realized that inside that box was every single letter I wrote her as a child, telling her how badly I was being mistreated and how much I missed her and asking her to pray for me so she could show it to the judge. She could show the judge what I'd been through and how much I needed that restraining order. I will never forget that. And she saved every letter. I miss her so much. Us kids in the 80s, we had it so rough. We were the feral generation. We bore the brunt of a lot of trauma that came from mom. And we had to raise ourselves and raise each other and look out for each other. And I don't forget. Other people forget. They overcome certain financial or social obstacles and everything appears wonderful, right? I appear to be a billionaire when no, I'm not one. And a lot of people see me now. Maybe they didn't know me back then. Maybe they vaguely knew me back then, or maybe, like I've said before, I have been so blessed that I don't, my energy and a lot of my, even my physical appearance, a lot of stuff doesn't really resemble as much the person that I used to be. And, you know, so they don't believe that I've ever suffered or that I do or that I've earned what I had. They think things have been handed to me. They think I have it easy. They have no idea what I had to wade through to get here and what I'm still wading through to get to the next place, and blessed I am, how blessed I am. And I'm blessed because I believe in the divine. I'm not going to let that go. I don't care who's uncomfortable with that. I don't ask people to change their non-belief. I'm not going to change my belief. You know, I'm not. It's not going to happen. And I don't understand why it makes other people so uncomfortable, right? I think we have a lot of people who they're more bigoted than the religionists. Like, heaven forbid you have a belief that I don't understand or feel comfortable with. You know, it's like some people want you to think exactly like them while they're pretending or they're saying that they're like these revolutionaries and these radicals, you know, but they get rigid too. They get rigid and they don't realize that they're just as bad because they're trying to push their stuff on other people, make people like cookie cutters of them. Oatmeal. Oatmeal is amazing. Oh, cinnamon apple. So I want to thank my friend for reminding me of that song and those great memories of how I connected to a higher power and how much it helped me. And they're bittersweet, but they're so worth remembering and starting my day off remembering. So thank you for that memory. And I look forward. I think I might have done this song with my brother, David Levine, also known as Aridel. I think I might have done a Valerie cover with him and the guys on the old band hub. I think. And if I did, can I please have that? If you have the video of that, can you send it to me? I lost all my videos. So, anyway, thanks for sitting with me for 20 minutes on my musings. Isn't it amazing how art reflects life and life reflects art and how it hurts but also heals? I'm grateful for that understanding. Bless up, everybody, and have a good day.